cases they say the delay, the period shall extended with effect from 15th of March till further orders to be passed by this court in present proceedings. तो अभी तक वो पीरियड जो है 15 मार्च से लेकर आप ये मान लीजिए वो पीरियड ही एक्सक्लूड हो जाएगा जब तक सुप्रीम कोर्ट एक दिन आकर के ये कहेगा यस नाउ द पीरियड इज ओवर. So for that, so the first thing is that the Supreme Court has given this respite to all the country, all states, all central laws, all state laws. So IBC would also be included in it if at all something was to be done, some appeal application was to be filed. Even IBC, that delay automatically.
स्क्रीन हटा दीजिए प्लीज. स्क्रीन ओनली फोल्डर इज आई. आप इसको जरा स्क्रीन शेयर हटा दीजिए. यस
राइट सर. So ये आपका, this is what the Supreme Court has done. Number 2, taking clue from this, the NCLAT took up a matter in suo moto proceedings, and what they said in the case of Quinn, what they said was that the time limit shall be extended for, so what they said, let me read it as it is. They ordered that the period of lockdown ordered by central government and the state government, including the period as may be extended either in whole or in part of the country where the registered office of the corporate debtor may be located, shall be excluded for the purposes of counting of period for resolution process under section 12 of Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code. So आप सबको मालूम है कि Insolvency Bankruptcy Code के लिए section 12 में जो प्रोसेस है उसके लिए there is a strict timeline, and the Supreme Court has also interpreted it in the case of SR. They have stated that even though the timeline they have stated to be mandatory, the Supreme Court read it down and said that mandatory word हम नहीं पढ़ेंगे, but they made it very clear कि mandatory word सिर्फ उस केस में नहीं पढ़ेंगे जिस केस में the assessee is able to demonstrate कि the person is able to demonstrate कि वो नहीं हो पाया because of the circumstances beyond his control. And the Supreme Court highlighted that would be those cases where because of the inaction of the tribunal, which is the adjudicating authority, in only those cases the time can be extended. To obviate the difficulties of the people who are undergoing this process of CIRP, the NCLAT has very clearly stated कि जी ये जो period lockdown का है ये भी exclude हो जाएगा. तो ये जो इसके basic timeline से related जो issues थे उन्होंने इस तरीके से इस period में हमारे address किए. उसके साथ हमारे लेजिस्लेचर तो नहीं कहूंगा, गवर्नमेंट ने भी इस चीज को अंडरस्टैंड किया और उन्होंने क्या कहा, पहले तो सबसे पहले एक छोटा सा चेंज तो ये आया कि जो इंसॉल्वेंसी लॉ कमिटी थी उन्होंने ये रेकमेंड किया कि इन जनरल भी 1 लाख रुपए की जो लिमिटेशन है डेट की, कि मिनिमम डेट 1 लाख होना चाहिए फॉर अंडरगोइंग द प्रोसेस फॉर एंटरिंग इनटू द कोड. तो इंसॉल्वेंसी लॉ कमिटी सजेस्टेड दैट दिस अमाउंट शुड बी इंक्रीज्ड टू 50 लाख. And the most important feature which we all need to understand of that recommendation was that our infrastructure and the courts are incapable of devoting time to important cases because the number of cases have increased. So there was no other reason for that. In fact, if I remember correctly, originally 1 लाख रुपए की लिमिट भी इसलिए रखी गई थी so that अगर कोई आदमी 1 लाख रुपए का डेट भी नहीं दे पा रहा तो फिर that is all the more reason for him to be declared as insolvent. But looking at the practical experience, Insolvency Law Committee suggested that इसको हमें 50 लाख कर देना चाहिए. But before that could be placed into action, ये सारा problem जो आ गया उसकी वजह से the government intervened and they issued a notification in exercise of powers under section 4 and they stated that जो insolvency के लिए minimum debt की requirement है that is being increased from 1 lakh to 1 crore. So that notification was issued and that became the minimum threshold. That notification was, I think, dated 24th of March 2020, number 1205. उसके बाद to again take care of difficulties arising because there are strict timelines for all the processes which are to be done while the process of CIRP is taking place. What the government introduced a regulation in regulation 40, as they called it, regulation number 40C in the IBBI Insolvency Resolution for Corporate Persons regulations, and what they said was model timeline for corporate insolvency resolution process, which is given in 40 capital A. They said that notwithstanding those timelines, the timelines shall be considered to be extended. And what exactly they said was that timelines contained in these regulations The period of lockdown imposed by central government in wake of COVID-19 shall not be counted for the purpose of timeline for any activity that could be completed due to such lockdown. तो जैसे फॉर एग्जांपल देयर आर स्ट्रिक्ट टाइमलाइंस कि आपको पब्लिक अनाउंसमेंट, इनवाइटिंग क्लेम्स कितने दिन में करनी है, सबमिशन ऑफ क्लेम्स कितने दिन में करने हैं, वेरिफिकेशन ऑफ क्लेम्स कितने दिन में करने हैं. ऑल दोस टाइमलाइंस वुड स्टैंड एक्सटेंडेड because of this regulation which was introduced. Likewise, even in the liquidation process regulations, they introduced 47A and they said कि जो timelines दी गई हैं 47 number regulation में, they would all be considered to be extended because they said that the period shall not be counted for the purpose of computation of time. So that is what. So now there are all type of, it covers almost all type of time limits. फाइलिंग के लिए सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने एक्सटेंड कर दिया, सीआईआरपी कंप्लीट करने के लिए एनसीएलएटी ने एक्सटेंड कर दिया, और सारी जो टाइमलाइन डिफरेंट टास्क करने के लिए वो रेगुलेशंस में एक्सटेंड हो गई. तो इन दैट व्यू ऑफ द मैटर, इन ऑलमोस्ट ऑल काइंड ऑफ सिचुएशंस हैव बीन टेकन केयर ऑफ. सो आज की डेट में इट इज लाइक द क्लॉक इज नॉट रनिंग, तो फॉर द पर्पस ऑफ आईबीसी इम्प्लीमेंटेशन. अब एक चीज इसकी वजह से डेफिनेटली जो 1 करोड़ रुपए का इन्होंने इंक्रीज किया है 1 लाख से, उसका जो भी इम्पैक्ट होता वो तो क्योंकि सारा लॉकडाउन के पीरियड में ही नोटिफिकेशन आया. अब क्योंकि वी ऑल नो दैट द गवर्नमेंट इज प्लानिंग टू ब्रिंग आउट एन ऑर्डिनेंस, बिकॉज निर्मला सीतारामन जी ने जब प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस करी थी तो उन्होंने बोला था कि अगर ये स्थिति और खराब होती है तो वी विल कंसिडर सस्पेंडिंग द एप्लीकेशन ऑफ IBC. And in that way, the news is that they are going to come out with an ordinance. We have to all guess कि वो ordinance का क्या स्वरूप होगा, लेकिन definitely IBC के provisions in for new cases seem to be कि वो उसको defer कर देंगे for 6 months. We all have to see, and other panelists would also spread light on that. But the fact of the matter is that for some time to come, IBC would we would be seeing IBC in a trimmed form. पुराने केसेस जो चल रहे हैं हो सकता है वो चलते रहें, जो नए केसेस हैं हो सकता है वो पूरी तरीके से ही बंद कर दिए जाएं, जो पेंडिंग एप्लीकेशंस हैं जिसमें नहीं शुरू हुआ उसमें बहुत सारी प्रोबेबिलिटीज हैं अभी, और मदान सर और अभिषेक एंड मनोज जी आपको और एनलाइटन करेंगे इस इशू के ऊपर, सुमित जी. बट द पॉइंट इज दैट एक ऑर्डिनेंस आने वाला है, तो शायद ये 1 करोड़ के ऊपर अभी बहुत ज्यादा चर्चा करने की एकदम से जरूरत ना पड़े, और जो जिस तरीके की डिस्कशन अभी चल रही है उसके हिसाब से शायद 1 करोड़ ऐसा नहीं है कि they will keep it for eternity, and they will, after the things resume, they have to again discuss and come to a better figure, a figure which actually takes IBC to a logical conclusion. But because we are all going through a period which is quite uncertain, a period which is laden with such kind of uncertainty कि businesses की क्या form होगी आगे, so it is my personal view that India is going to only gain from all the circumstances, but how much time it takes, whether it happens or not, so depending upon that, IBC has to see a future, which of course the future doesn't seem to be very easy for IBC. It has to take that roller coaster ride with which it has to reach to the success waters. But only one thing, the last thing which I want to point out at this moment is that the success of any legislation, it depends a lot on the way it is dealt with by the stakeholders. The most important stakeholders in this, according to me, people may call that is not a stakeholder, but according to me, I would include them also within the definition of stakeholder, is the adjudicating authority, namely the NCLT. And I would use this medium to express that the tribunals like NCLT actually have to shed their image as being some type of formal courts. Rather, they have to become business adjudicators, business partners, and understand the realities of business. They have to undergo rigorous training, have to substitute themselves not as courts, but as solution providers, as service providers, become much more professional. And they should, in the interest of the country, in the interest of taking care of the interests of the businesses of this country, can take several steps. One of the steps can be to start taking decisions on the basis of video conferencing to completely convert their registry into an e-registry. After all, they are dealing with businesses, they are dealing with corporates, and I think corporates and those professionals who are dealing with the IBC have the wherewithal to carry out all the processes electronically, and this can go a long way, not just during the lockdown. Even after lockdown, the processes should be so done that the professionals' time is not wasted, The courts do not carry out like professional courts where you like traditional courts where you go sit at 10:30 in the morning and you do not know whether your case would reach, whether there would be any effective hearing or not. All these things should now become the things of past. People should be allowed to participate from their offices, from their workplaces, from their business places, so that it is in the interest of cost, pollution, time saving, etc. Everything. All these things, I think we all have to start forming opinion. We have to start making representations, and the tribunals have to become conscious of these type of practical realities of the world, and they have to also move ahead with time. So with this, I halt myself at this point on the aspect of COVID, and I request Abhishek ji to take things forward. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Puneet ji, for your opening remarks. Now I request Shri Sumit Bansal ji to please throw some light on what is his opinion on the impact of this COVID-19 on the IBC scenario.
Thank you, Abhishek ji. जैसा पुनीत जी ने कहा कि ये तो एक इसमें पॉजिटिव बात ये है कि हम सब BVSS के फैमिली मेंबर्स हम सब एक तरह से एक दूसरे के घर में मिल रहे हैं आज. तो माय ग्रीटिंग्स टू ऑल ऑफ यू एंड ऑल योर फैमिली मेंबर्स. बट अनफॉर्चुनेटली जो आज हमारा टॉपिक है ये प्रोफेशनली बड़ा ग्रिम है कि जो इंसॉल्वेंसी के लॉज को कंप्लीटली सस्पेंड करने के लिए जो ऑर्डिनेंस अब आ गया है या आने वाला है. मेरा पर्सनल व्यू ये है कि इसमें हमारा कोई रिप्रेजेंटेशन जाना चाहिए और गवर्नमेंट बेटर सेंस शुड प्रिवेल दैट देयर शुड बी अ नुसेंस्ड एंड अ कैलिब्रेटेड अप्रोच जिससे कि डिफरेंशिएशन हो सके कि सम काइंड ऑफ डिफरेंशिएशन की कॉज ऑफ डिफॉल्ट क्या है. ये हम सब समझते हैं कि यहाँ पे बहुत सी ऐसी यूनिट्स होंगी जो वायबल हैं, पूरी तरह से सक्षम है, बहुत अच्छा बिजनेस कर रही थी, बहुत अच्छा बिजनेस कर सकती थी, करेंगी आगे, पर एट दिस पॉइंट इन टाइम दे में बिकम अ डिफॉल्टर. क्योंकि डिफॉल्ट की जो डेफिनेशन है इंसॉल्वेंसी में वो बड़ी थिन है कि आपने अगर किसी को प्रॉमिस करा है कि आप आज उसकी पेमेंट कर देंगे और आप आज उसकी पेमेंट नहीं कर पा रहे हैं, उसका कारण चाहे कुछ भी हो सकता है आपके सारे डेटर्स आपको डिफॉल्ट कर गए, इस वजह से आप अपने क्रेडिटर को डिफॉल्ट कर रहे हैं, बट इररिस्पेक्टिव आप उसमें ट्रिगर हो जाते हैं इंसॉल्वेंसी में. तो इसके अंदर कोई ना कोई सॉल्यूशन लाना तो कंपलसरी हो ही गया था गिवन दिस डेफिनेशन ऑफ डिफॉल्ट अंडर आईबीसी. अब इस समय तो सभी डिफॉल्ट में आएंगे. कल अ बिग AMC which is Franklin Templeton, which is one of the world's biggest AMC, 6 of their schemes kind of they have become defaulter because they promised that they are an open-ended scheme and anybody can redeem their funds at his or her wish, but now they have said कि वहाँ पे आप redemption नहीं कर सकते, तो default ही है ये. और वो default क्यों है? क्योंकि उन्होंने जहाँ इन्वेस्टमेंट करी हुई थी वो इन्वेस्टमेंट लिक्विड हो गई. तो इसीलिए ऐसे ही बिजनेसेस के साथ भी ये बड़ी सारी सिचुएशंस आएंगी. तो आई थिंक इट इज द स्टेप इन द राइट डायरेक्शन टू एक्लिप्स द इंसॉल्वेंसी इन सम वे, बट they should do something that there need not be unintended beneficiaries, if I may say so, of this move. That is one thing. Second, जो बहुत सारी सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने भी कहा है और हमारे CIRP रेगुलेशंस में भी और लिक्विडेशन रेगुलेशंस में भी जो कहा है that this lockdown period of 40 days would not be counted for the purpose of computation of timeline for any task under the CIRP or liquidation process. तो इसमें मैं एक जगह सुन रहा था हमारे जो IBBI के चेयरमैन हैं मिस्टर साहू को, उन्होंने बोला that the position of IP is akin to a health worker. So ये सारी जो रेगुलेशंस आई हैं ये हमारे बेनिफिट में हैं. हमको ये देखना चाहिए कि कहीं पे भी हम अगर लेट हो जाते हैं तो हमारे ऊपर कोई कॉस्ट नहीं है उसकी, बट देन वी हैव टू यूटिलाइज दिस अपॉर्चुनिटी टू नो द बिजनेसेस ऑफ व्हिच वी आर इंसॉल्वेंसी प्रोफेशनल्स और लिक्विडेटर बेटर, to communicate with the stakeholders through whatever means we can while following the lockdown rules. And अब बहुत सारे केसेस में ये भी देखा जा रहा है. एक चीज मैं और आपके साथ शेयर करता हूँ. मेरी जो फीलिंग है वो ये है कि दिस इंसॉल्वेंसी द वे इट वाज प्रोग्रेसिंग was not probably in a manner that one would have intended it to. एंड अभी मैं आज एक केस पढ़ रहा था एक कोई पीवीसी मैन्युफैक्चरिंग कंपनी का कि उसमें इंसॉल्वेंसी ट्रिगर करी एक ऑपरेशनल क्रेडिटर में, और मदान साहब आप इस वाले केस पे ध्यान दीजिएगा कि उसके अंदर जब इंसॉल्वेंसी प्रोफेशनल ने अप्रोच करने की कोशिश करी प्रमोटर्स को, तो दे वर अनअप्रोचेबल, दे वर एग्जिस्टेंट बट दे वर नॉट रिस्पॉन्डिंग. An application under section 19(3) was filed. Several notices were issued to them. They did not appear in even a single note with a single notice. Finally, the court had to issue a bailable warrant, but that warrant also could not be executed. And in the meanwhile, the company went into liquidation because of the timelines. And unfortunately, the lead banker in this case was SBI, which according to me should be the gold standard in terms of the SOPs as to how a banker has to respond to a CIRP situation or a liquidation situation. But their response was, what word should I use? They said that we are not ready to share the CIRP costs. So, so such a narrow view they took instead of helping the insolvency professional. Because a banker would have all the KYC documents, if they have lent crores of rupees, they would have done a lot of due diligence. They would know a lot of ways and means to pull and press the promoters to cooperate. And then but unfortunately nothing happened and the company went into liquidation. So, this is not the kind of process or the law it was intended to. So somewhere maybe if stakeholders have given this feedback to the government, they have realized that certain things need to be relooked into and tweaked into, and that is why they have used this opportunity, in the guise of the COVID situation, to suspend it for a moment and then come up with a renewed look. That is what I suspect that may be the case, and if at all rightfully so. But we are all professionals, so nothing can, no one can take our knowledge from us, our degree from us. Situation is unfolding. I hope normalcy returns very soon. एक चीज मैं आपके साथ शेयर करूंगा. मैं सोच रहा था कि क्राइसिस, ये क्राइसिस है और ये हेल्थ क्राइसिस है जो वेल्थ में जा रहा है, और हमें पता है कि हेल्थ इज वेल्थ. तो ऐसा तो हो नहीं सकता कि अगर हेल्थ हमारी क्राइसिस में है तो वेल्थ बची रहेगी. Whatever may be the situation. So the things would depend upon how soon we find a medical solution to this. Everything is linked to that. And if we come out from this situation, then normalcy will come in the IBC laws as well. So with these words, I would like to halt myself for the time being and request Abhishek ji to take the discussion ahead.
Thank you so much, Sumit ji. I agree with your views. Even I feel that the government has, this is a larger move where they want to revert some of the laws. So that is why they want to halt it. And they thought that this is the right time to, halt these IBC laws. With this, I now request Mr. GP Madan ji to enlighten us with his experience, his thoughts on these issues. Madan sir, please. Sir, please unmute. Please unmute.
नमस्कार, आप सबका स्वागत है. अध्यक्ष जी, रोहित जी, my dear co-panelists and all the other participants. For the time being, I think 62 in number, and there must be hundreds of participants who are watching this particular event through Facebook platform. And my compliments to Mr. Naval Bajaj, who has actually provided life to BVSS during this COVID. नवल जी, आपको बहुत बहुत शत शत नमन हम सबकी तरफ से. Coming to today's topic, I think majority of the things have already been covered by my dear friend Puneet and Sumit. I will touch upon my issues starting from where Puneet ended. Puneet and Sumit also touched upon the same. Puneet said that the limit under this legislation, threshold limit, was 1 lakh, and as per ILCE, it was being recommended to be raised to 50 lakhs, and ultimately it has been raised to 100 lakhs. And the reason which he has quoted, that ILCE has given the reason of infrastructure. My question to the government is, that is National Company Law Tribunal was constituted under the Companies Act for the purposes of Companies Act. At that time, IBC was not in picture at all. Later on, when in 2016 IBC became a reality and IBC was defined, or adjudicating authority was defined in the IBC for the purposes of corporate persons, that NCLT shall be the adjudicating authority. At that point of time also, friends, the government knew how much rush will be there with NCLT. Knowing this fact very well, later on we saw the thousands of applications, thousands of appeals under section 252 of the Companies Act were filed by the stuck-off companies, and that added to the burden of NCLT. So if we knew the reason that there is a lot of burden, we don't have infrastructure, it's always advisable to enhance or increase or better the infrastructure rather than increasing the threshold limit. Punit said very rightly that if a company is not able to pay 1 lakh of rupees, it means that company shall be in default with other creditors also. So this is a fit insolvency case. However, government didn't consider it, government didn't consider the infra issue, and government all of a sudden increased the limit of from 1 lakh to 100 lakhs. But this 100 lakhs was absolutely infructuous because this limit was increased during this lockdown period. And during this lockdown period, I don't think any application has been filed taking cue from this 1 crore limit, because this 1 crore limit was on during this lockdown only, and in the meantime the cabinet has cabinet has cleared the ordinance paving the way for suspension of section 9, section 7, 9 and section 10, all 3 sections. Though we are waiting for the ordinance, we are waiting for the clear language of the ordinance on which applications it will be applicable. But still I fail to understand that why section 10 is going to be included in the ordinance. If the intention of the government is to save the MSMEs or other companies from the clutches of insolvency and bankruptcy court, अगर कुछ सस्पेंड करना ही तो सेक्शन 7 और 9 करते, सेक्शन 10 क्यों सस्पेंड किया जा रहा है? अगर सेक्शन 10 में कोई कंपनी है, कोई कंपनी के ऊपर ऑलरेडी एक्शंस लिए जा रहे हैं, promoters of the view that they will be able to survive it, the circumstances, they'll be able to clear up their dues, they need some breathing time, they need some moratorium. Why section 10 application is being suspended? This is still beyond my imagination. Coming to both the speakers touched upon regulation 40A and 47A, 40C in CIRP regulations and 47A in liquidation regulations. That these 2 regulations are providing that the lockdown period shall not be counted for the purposes of CIRP as well as for the purposes of liquidation timelines. And the reason which is given here in both the regulations is the lockdown period as announced by central government. What will happen to a case in which case the lockdown has been released by the central government but lockdown is still continuing from the state government? There may be a possibility. Recently we saw that certain relaxations were there from the central government, but state government didn't, the Delhi government didn't provide any relaxation. Even today it is being said. So I think Puniji said the shops are open. According to my knowledge, the Delhi government has announced the shops shall not be opened. Delhi government still decided to continue with the lockdown. The Delhi government is not in a mood to relax even after 27th of April to relax the lockdown. So what will happen if the lockdown continues because of state government? What will happen if the lockdown is there because of certain foreign governments in their respective countries, and because of that lockdown, CIRP here in India or liquidation here in India is going to be impacted? According to me, even those lockdown periods should also be excluded. This is my personal view. Coming to this ordinance, we are waiting for the ordinance. Will it be applicable to only the applications to be filed? Will it be applicable to the applications which are already pending for adjudication before NCLT? Or will it be applicable to, or I will rather say, wherever section 8 notice have been issued can Section 9 application be filed because of this ordinance? All these questions I'm not in a position to answer right now because like you, I'm also waiting for the exact language of the ordinance. What ordinance exactly says, what does it permit and what does exactly not permit. All that depends on the language of the ordinance. Let's see the ordinance and only after that I'll be able to comment on these things. Now coming to the impact of number one, this ordinance, and number two, I'll say impact of COVID on insolvency and bankruptcy code. Friends, the first impact of insolvency, COVID on insolvency and bankruptcy code is on the valuations of the assets of the corporate debtor. And this is going to impact in a number of ways. Number one, that inspection, CIRP process is on, valuation has been done by the resolution professional. Whether that valuation remains good, whether it holds good, even today's scenario post-lockdown, or whether another valuation is required to be done. My personal view is another valuation may be required to be done. Second issue, because of the valuation, will be on the cases wherever the resolution plans are being discussed and are the final stage because of these valuations. Those resolution plans are required to be revisited. Number three, resolution plans have been submitted, have been approved by the COC, and application is yet to be filed before NCLT. There is every possibility here the resolution applicant may withdraw this resolution plan, will ask the resolution professional to withdraw his personal security, personal performance guarantee or bank guarantee. Another case wherever resolution plan has been approved by NCLT, have been approved by COC, application has already been filed before NCLT and matter is sub judice before NCLT, or the order is reserved by NCLT. In all those cases, whether this resolution applicant, because according to him, the valuations have undergone tremendous change, he may not be comfortable with this resolution plan, or he may like to withdraw the resolution plan. Another case, wherever the resolution plans have been approved and are at the implementation stage, but because of the change scenario, the valuations have gone haywire, employees are not coming, labor is not coming, liquidity issues, crisis may be there. Here again, the resolution applicant may not be willing to implement the resolution plan. This is another issue which we will be facing. And in all these cases, according to me, the one option would be to revisit the entire CIRP process. And if that happens, it may be very, very dangerous situation. Because if the entire CIRP process is revisited, according to me, in number of cases, you will not be finding any resolution plan. Or even if the resolution plan is there, the plan value which shall be offered will be very, very low, even be much, even maybe it may be much below the liquidation value. So in all those cases, wherever there is no plan or the plan which is being submitted is not even near the liquidation value, the COC may not approve that plan, and ultimately those companies may be forced to go into liquidation. That is not the intention of this legislation. The company should go into liquidation. That is why that a company should not go into liquidation. The government is coming out with this ordinance. Because the intention of the government is, if Section 7 and 9 are not suspended and more applications are filed, and in the present scenario, there is no possibility, or there is hardly any possibility of any resolution plan being coming forward. And if there is no resolution plan, then ultimately, as per the provisions of the code, the company will go into liquidation. And that is not the intention of the legislation. Because the resolutions plan which are going to be submitted by the resolution applicants, in my view, will be offering very, very low valuation to the assets of the corporate debtor, while the intention of the preamble of the code says to maximize the value of the assets of the corporate debtor. So if 7, 9 and 10 rather I'll say 7 and 9, if they remain in existence for the time being, there may be possibility that we are acting against the preamble of the code or intention of the code or the objective of the code. Even friends, if you read today's newspaper, that is Business Standard. As per today's newspaper, the banks have advised the government that all the existing IBC proceedings, meaning thereby all the applications which are pending, in the sense that all the CIRP cases where the applications have been admitted and CIRP process is on, the banks are advising the government that all those CIRP cases should be put on hold for a period of 2 years. Now think of this situation if the recommendation of the banks is accepted. 7, 9, 10 goes, all the existing CIRP cases go. It means for the time being, entire IBC goes. If entire IBC goes, will it be in the interest of the corporate sector? Will it be in the interest of the economy? Will it be in the interest of the banks and the lenders and the creditors? Only the time will tell. Because if what we have seen recently since 2016 onwards, our ease of doing business ranking has gone up. The world ease of doing in the world. As per the World Bank, the ease of doing business ranking, which was earlier around 131st place, we have come down to, I think, 65th place now. And the major contribution is this insolvency and bankruptcy code. If this entire code goes, don't you think that this ease of doing business ranking will again be lower and we may be again a 17th, 18th, 19th, 100th place for all of a sudden because of this? Are we thinking on these lines? This is a big question. Secondly, according to me, the government is bringing out this ordinance of suspending 1, 9 and 10 because the government wants to save MSMEs. Intention of the government is that MSMEs should be saved from the clutches of the insolvency and bankruptcy code. The applications, wherever the MSMEs are in default, the application should not be filed against these MSMEs. My question to the government, are you helping the government, MSMEs, or you are acting against the interest of the MSMEs? On the one hand, you are saving the MSMEs from the clutches of IBC. On the other hand, you are barring those MSMEs from filing an application under Section 7 or Section 9, particularly under Section 9, wherever there are corporate debtors and who are defaulters with these MSMEs. Now these MSMEs will not be able to file any application against any of their debtors. Friends, we know it very well that Companies Act 1956, we had Section 433, 434 creditors winding up straight away. Wherever a creditor could have filed an application for, a writ for, a petition for, winding up under the provisions of the Companies Act. Those provisions were there in the Companies Act 2013, but those provisions could not be notified. And when IBC became reality, those provisions got deleted from Companies Act 2013. Now in the present scenario, we do not have straight away winding up application provisions. We were having beautiful provisions under IBC that before liquidation, there should be efforts for insolvency resolution. If insolvency resolution is not there, liquidation is not there, straight away winding up application is not there, what do we think? Where will these creditors go? If the corporate debtor becomes defaulter, where will these creditors go? Will they go to normal civil courts and file a recovery suit? Will they go ahead and file an arbitration, initiate arbitration proceedings? And in both the scenarios, the cost of this litigation or even the filing fees is roughly 3 to 5%. Is there an additional burden on these creditors? Whether these questions have been discussed and decided thoroughly by the government before the government decided to come out with this ordinance. I'm having my own apprehensions on all this. And the other issue which the COVID is having on the current CIRP process is that is the duty of the resolution professional to keep the company as a going concern. Now, because of the lockdown, it has become virtually impossible for the resolution professional to keep the company as a going concern. Labor is not coming. Employees are not coming. MIS system has broken down. Money is not there. Labor is asking for wages. Employees are asking for salaries. Vendors have stopped supply of the goods. Essential services are not there. So this has become a very, very big major issue for the resolution professionals to keep the company as a going concern. I think we need to discuss and deliberate on this threadbare. What can be the practical solutions to this problem? And another, last but not the least, the problem is the liquidators are facing nowadays. That hardly, as on date, there is hardly any buyer or acquirer of the assets under liquidation nowadays. How this liquidator is going to fetch a better price? Forget about the selling the company as a going concern. It has become a very big challenge even to sell the company's assets during this scenario. And this scenario, friends, I'm not talking about a lockdown. The moment the lockdown is open, these issues are going to remain for months together now. Because the economy is going to take a hit, the valuation is going to take a hit in the times to come. So it will be a very, very difficult situation for even the resolution professionals also. We need all to sit together. We need all to discuss all these issues threadbare and try to come out with the practical solutions in the interest of the corporate debtor, in the interest of the lenders, in the interest of all the stakeholders. And I think today's event is for a couple of hours, where I think the last 1 hour is dedicated for the Q&A. Maybe we can have another session post lockdown where we can discuss the practical solutions to all these issues which I've discussed, and all the other issues which may crop in the times to come. With this, I conclude my remarks.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Madan sir, for your. Am I audible?
Yes, you are audible.
Okay. Thank you so much, Madan sir, for your enlightening thoughts, and the issues you have highlighted are, very real, and all these questions are, I think, in everyone's mind. Yes, sir.
I have a couple of more issues that during this implementation of the resolution plan, other issues which are going to be there on doctrine of impossibility or doctrine of frustration, as well as a force majeure clause, if it is there in the resolution plan. If these things are there, certainly it will be very difficult for this resolution applicants to implement the resolution plan. Now, we, the resolution professionals, wherever the plans have been approved or wherever the plans have been submitted, we need to go through each and every clause of this agreement thoroughly and threadbare, and then try to analyze what can be the impact of these clauses on the plans, on the approval of the plan or on the implementation of it.
Yes, very rightly said, sir. As I was saying, these issues are very real, and personally speaking, I don't get this. The fundamental question in my mind is that when the intent of IBC is to resolve the insolvency of the company, then why it is the hurry to get this ordinance, suspend the IBC altogether? If at all there will be any insolvency due to this lockdown, I think it will be more of a reason to resort to IBC to solve this insolvency. So I don't know why the government is in a hurry to get this ordinance. So with this question and with this thought in mind, I pass on to Manoj Kumar Anandji for his thoughts on the issue.
थैंक यू अभिषेक जी. अब बेसिकली जो चीजें मैं कवर करना चाहता था वो सारी की सारी चीजें ऑलरेडी हमारे रिस्पेक्टेड मदान जी ने, हमारे पुनीत जी ने, हमारे सुमित जी ने कवर कर दी. बेसिकली मैंने फिर भी आई मेड माई पीपीटी. मोस्ट ऑफली ये पीपीटी जो हम लोग सब लोगों के साथ शेयर करेंगे, इट इज द समराइजेशन ऑफ व्हाट वी सेड ऑल, एक्सेप्ट 1 or 2 new things will be there. But before I start my this deliberation, I would like to thanks to Mr. Naval, Mr. Vaswani, Secretary, and to you also for organizing such a wonderful webinar. And hopefully we shall go for more such webinars in the days to come. Now, जैसे before I start my deliberation, what I prepared, एक दो बातें जो अभी पुरी जी की बात से, मदान जी की बात से और सुमित जी की बात से आई हैं, उनके बारे में मैं आपसे शेयर करना चाहूँगा कि जैसे मदान जी ने कहा कि ये क्रेडिटर्स कहाँ पे जाएंगे. आई रिमेंबर हमारा आईबीसी का ऑब्जेक्टिव ही यही था कि जो विलफुल प्रमोटर हैं या डिफॉल्टर हैं उनसे हम, यही एक ऐसा लेजिस्लेशन आया था जिसके अंदर ये सोचा गया था और करा गया था कि जो मैनेजमेंट थी वो प्रमोटर से क्रेडिटर्स को चेंज कर दी गई थी। और अगर हमारे पास क्रेडिटर्स के पास कोई और ऑप्शन नहीं होगा, या एग्जिस्टिंग ऑप्शंस कोई और डिफरेंट टाइप के होंगे, तो आई थिंक द होल ऑब्जेक्टिव ऑफ दिस थिंग विल बी गोइंग ऑफ। दूसरी सिचुएशन क्या कहते हैं, पुनीत जी ने बात करी थी कि जो हमारी वो क्या कहते हैं एनसीएलटी एडजुडिकेटिंग अथॉरिटी है, दे शुड कम आउट विद विद अ ब्रॉडर ऑब्जेक्टिव रादर देन एक्टिंग एज सिंपली एज अ कोर्ट ओनली। दे शुड कम आउट विद फाइंडेबल सॉल्यूशंस। तो उस केस में रिमेंबर, देखो केस का जजमेंट अभी याद नहीं आ रहा, सुप्रीम कोर्ट मोस्ट ऑफ द टाइम कट देयर फेदर्स। आई रिमेंबर कि यानी कि सुप्रीम कोर्ट हेल्ड वेरी क्लियरली दैट एज फार एज कमर्शियल एस्पेक्ट्स आर कंसर्न्ड, COCs हैज टू डिसाइड, NCLT is supposed not to interfere in it. In any case, नया लॉ है, ये हो रहा है, डेवलप हो रहा है, धीरे धीरे होता रहेगा। IBC में अब मैं बेसिकली now I move to my PPT which I prepared since time is very less. ऑलरेडी मेरे पास 10 मिनट हैं करने के लिए, 10-15 मिनट हैं, तो मैं उसके बेस पे बेसिकली ये वही बातें हैं जो सब लोगों ने करी है, तो इट विल बी समराइज्ड फ्रॉम। आई जस्ट स्टार्ट विद माय PPT। This is simply introductory PPT, nothing to say more than that. Yes. Now I start, I've divided my this presentation in two parts. Application of IBC during current COVID-19 scenario in two parts. One is that COVID-19 related orders and notifications. I have synchronized all the orders date-wise. These are basically those notifications or orders which has already been taught, except इसके अंदर हमने एक या दो चीजें कुछ मिस करी होंगी, तो वो हम उसको चेक कर लेंगे. Second is effect of liquidity crunch. हमारे मैदान सर जी ने अभी बड़ी डिटेल में बताया कि ये IBC जो है ये लॉकडाउन करके ये जो नोटिफिकेशन है जिसके अंदर ये सेक्शन 7-9 और बेबी सेक्शन अबॉलिश करने का सोच रहे हैं, और प्लस जो कोविड है स्पेसिफिकली, इससे हमारी लिक्विडिटी के ऊपर क्या फर्क पड़ेगा. देखिए, सबसे पहले पुनीत जी ने जैसे डिस्कस करना था, सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने सो मोटर लिया अंडर आर्टिकल 142, लिमिटेशन एक्सटेंडेड फॉर ऑल लॉज विद इफेक्ट फ्रॉम 15/3/2020 टिल फर्दर ऑर्डर्स बाय एक्सरसाइजिंग इनहेरेंट पावर्स अंडर आर्टिकल 142. उसके बाद ये सेकंड आया हमारा नोटिफिकेशन डेट वाइज 29 मार्च 2020 को. ये IBBI ने करा, मदान जी ने बड़ा क्लियरली इसमें से डिस्कस कर लिया कि ये न्यू CRP रेगुलेशन 40C आया. ये मैं थोड़ा सा तेज कर रहा हूँ बिकॉज हमने ऑलरेडी इनको डिटेल में डिस्कस कर लिया है. कोई जो नई चीज होगी वो उसके अंदर ऐड करूंगा मैं. New CRP regulation 40C introduce extending timeline under regulation 40B. लॉकडाउन पीरियड, हाँ, इसके अंदर जो मदान जी ने सर ने अभी आपको हमारे को शेयर कर लिया कि इसके अंदर सिर्फ जो लॉकडाउन का पीरियड है वो सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट का लिखा हुआ है, फॉरेन कंट्रीज का और स्टेट गवर्नमेंट्स का कुछ नहीं लिखा हुआ, फॉर विच वी मे हैव सम एक्सेप्शनल थिंग्स. बट व्हाट आई फील इज दैट अगर कुछ इस तरह का केस आता है तो हमारी एडजुडिकेटिंग अथॉरिटी उसको उस चीज का बेनिफिट दे देगी. नेक्स्ट, एनक्लैट ने एक सुओ मोटो ऑर्डर इशू करा जिसके अंदर अंडर सेक्शन 12 जो टाइमलाइन हमारी होती है 270 डेज, 190 डेज, 270 डेज और 330 डेज, उसको कह दिया जी ये ऑटोमेटिकली सेंड हो जाएगी. मोस्ट प्रॉब्ली इट वाज नॉट इन द पावर ऑफ NCLT. IBBI 17/4/20 को उसके बाद IBBI ने एक न्यू रेगुलेशन लाया जिसके अंदर उन्होंने ये इट वाज बेसिकली लिक्विडेशन प्रोसेस रेगुलेशन था जिसके अंदर 47E इंट्रोड्यूस करा और ये कहा जी जो टाइमलाइन हमारी 47 के अंदर है वो वोट भी एप्लीकेबल। लेकिन सर इसके अंदर हमारा एक चैप्टर 5 है सेक्शन 59 के अंदर विच कवर्स वॉलंटरी लिक्विडेशन प्रोसेस, इसके बारे में अभी तक कोई नोटिफिकेशन नहीं आया IBBI से। आई थिंक दे मे कम आउट और देयर इज समथिंग रॉन्ग इन देयर ड्राफ्टिंग और समथिंग लाइक दैट। हाँ जी, इस बीच में एक हमारा 21/3/2020 को GST ने एक नोटिफिकेशन इशू करा था। इनफैक्ट ये सर्कुलर नंबर 134 और ये मैंने जो नंबर दिया 23 मार्च को, ये मैंने सिर्फ इसलिए अपनी PPT के अंदर लिया है कि आई रिमेंबर अभिषेक जी ने हमारे जो कोऑर्डिनेटर है इसके ऊपर एक आर्टिकल भी लिखा था जो बिजनेस लाइन में आया था कि बेसिकली इट सेज कि नो व्हाट अर्लियर कंफ्यूजन वाज देयर इट हैज बीन रिमूव्ड नाउ कि जैसे ही विद इन 30 डेज अपॉइंटमेंट ऑफ IRP RP और लिक्विडेटर ही हैज टू गेट रजिस्टर्ड विद द GST। तो इस सर्कुलर के अंदर उन्होंने बड़ा क्लियर वे से बताया है कि जो हमारे इनपुट क्रेडिट्स हैं या अदर चीजें जो हैं जो हमारी क्या कहते हैं जो हमारे को है हाउ वी शुड टेक फॉर दैट। डिटेल में मैं इसको पढ़ूंगा नहीं बिकॉज हमारा आज का टॉपिक इज रिलेटेड टू कोविड है। इसके बाद 1 मार्च 2020 को DGFT डायरेक्टर जनरल ऑफ फॉरेन ट्रेड ने एक सर्कुलर निकाला है। वी आर ऑल अवेयर ऑफ इट दैट आवर IBC एक्ट एक्सीड्स all the acts, but they have come out with a circulation that institutional contribution of proceedings against companies firms under IBC NCLT can, unless there are specific directions by the NCLT, they basically say कि जो हमारी जो DGFT के अंदर proceedings है it will continue until unless NCLT grants exemption to that particular case, which is in my view a little bit surprising, but even then we should take care of it. उसके बाद एक 23/4/2020 को IBBI ने नोटिफिकेशन निकाली। ये इनफैक्ट कल रात को ही आया था तो इसको भी मैंने इनकॉर्पोरेट कर लिया। इसके अंदर ज़्यादा कुछ नहीं है, इसके अंदर सिर्फ ये है कि जो हमारी रजिस्टर्ड वैल्यूर ऑर्गेनाइजेशन है उसके अंदर जो इंडिपेंडेंट डायरेक्टर का रोल है उसको थोड़ा सा उन्होंने इंडिपेंडेंट डायरेक्टर का जो है उसको थोड़ा सा उन्होंने वो क्या कहते हैं डिफाइन करा है कि इन केस ऑफ प्रमोटर्स, यानी अगर कोई RVO को किसी प्रमोटर ने बनाया तो वो ही प्रमोटर ऑफ दैट कांट बी ए इंडिपेंडेंट डायरेक्टर देयर। उसके बाद 1/20/4/2020 को ये भी कल ही आया है। इसके अंदर जो बेसिकली कुछ नहीं है, मॉडल बायलॉज ऑफ गवर्निंग बोर्ड ऑफ IPA न्यू सब क्लॉज 5 अगेंस्ट क्लॉज 12A एंड क्लॉज 7 इंसर्टेड विद रेफरेंस टू AFS सर्टिफिकेट फॉर टाइमलाइन ऑफ 30 डेज अप टू 30/9/20। ये बेसिकली जो हम लोग इंसॉल्वेंसी प्रोफेशनल्स जो हम लोग काम करते हैं तो हमारे को हर साल अपनी एजेंसी से वो लेना होता है ऑथराइजेशन फॉर असाइनमेंट सर्टिफिकेट लेना होता है। तो ये उसके बारे में कि अप टू 30/9/20 से 30 दिन तक करेगा, नथिंग इंपॉर्टेंट देयर। और उसके बाद 40B की जो है ये ऑलरेडी डिस्कस हो गया। हाँ नहीं सॉरी, एक नोटिफिकेशन और निकाला है जिसके अंदर व्हाट हैपेंस कि हम लोगों को एजेंसीज के पास IP1 फॉर्म CR 1 2 3 4 5 फॉर्म फाइल करने होते हैं। अगर हम उसको विद इन टाइम ना करें फॉर को 3 दिन करना होता है एडिशनल। अगर 1 महीने का डिले है तो अगर उससे विद इन 1 मंथ था तो 500 रुपया, 1 महीने से ज्यादा का डिले है तो 1000 रुपया, अगर उससे ज्यादा 1 महीने के बाद का डिले हो जाता है तो उसके बाद हमारे को 1500 रुपये पे करने हैं। तो इसके बारे में उन्होंने थोड़ा सा क्लैरिफाई करा है कि 30 सितंबर तक का इसको इट कैन बी एक्सीडेड। उसके बाद एक नोटिफिकेशन आया 20/4/20 का बेंडिंग, यानी कि इसके अंदर कंसेशन ये दी है उन्होंने कि हमारे को जैसे हर साल आई थिंक 10,000 रुपये हम लोग फीस पे करते हैं IP जो भी एजेंसी के साथ रजिस्टर्ड होता है, तो वो उसकी लास्ट डेट 30 अप्रैल थी। उसको फाइनेंशियल ईयर 19-20 की मैंने तो खैर अपनी फीस पे कर दी थी अप्रैल से पहले ही, तो उन्होंने इसको एक्सटेंड करके 30 जून कर दिया है। इट इंक्लूड्स फीस पेबल बाय द इंसॉल्वेंसी प्रोफेशनल एंड इंसॉल्वेंसी प्रोफेशनल एंटिटीज। Yes, we discussed at a lot कि हमारी जो 1 लाख से ऊपर 1 करोड़ रुपया लिमिट कर दी गई है, एक्सटेंड कर दी गई है, तो whether what are the pros and cons for that? I won't be touching those topics which has been already discussed. मैं सिर्फ वही बात करूंगा जो शायद थोड़ी बहुत ही रह गई हो। जैसे क्या कहते हैं आई थिंक अभिषेक पुनीत जी ने शायद कहा था कि इंसॉल्वेंसी लॉ कमेटी इन थर्ड रिपोर्ट डेटेड 20 मार्च 2020 रिकमेंडेड इंक्रीज द लिमिट टू 50 लाख रुपीस। लेकिन इसके अंदर जो उन्होंने ये लिमिट तो 50 लाख रुपए रिकमेंड करी थी, इट वाज फॉर फाइनेंशियल कैटर्स। फॉर ऑपरेशनल कैटर्स दे केप्ट इट फॉर 5 लाख रुपीस। यू नो दिस इज लिटिल बिट इट गोज विद आवर थॉट प्रोसेस आल्सो, कि जो मदान जी ने बड़ा डिटेल में डिस्कस करा कि इस तरह की लिमिट इंक्रीज करने से एमएसएमई को बेनिफिट है या नहीं है। और इनफैक्ट आई एम आल्सो ऑफ द यूनानिमस ओपिनियन कि एमएसएमई को बेनिफिट कम और नुकसान ज्यादा है। रीजन बीइंग दैट, उसका रीजन यह है जो मैंने अपने पॉइंट नंबर 2 में लिखा हुआ है कि आईबीसी यू नो इन इंडिया, लेट्स टॉक अबाउट कि हमारे इंडिया के अंदर डेट मार्केट डेवलप क्यों नहीं। इसका सिर्फ एक ही रीजन था डेट मार्केट का डेवलप ना होने का, कि हमारे यहाँ पे जो रिकवरी थी वो प्रोसेस कंपेयर टू वेस्ट कंट्रीज के कंपैरिजन में बहुत कम और बहुत लो लेवल पे था। आईबीसी जो लाया गया था वो इसी पर्पस से लाया गया था, इट वाज द मेन ऑब्जेक्टिव ऑफ द आईबीसी, ताकि जो हमारी डेट मार्केट है व्हिच इज आल्सो ए सब्सटेंशियल मार्केट, इसका जो प्रोसेस है वो क्या कहते हैं उसको जो है डेट मार्केट को रिवाइव किया जाए, बिकॉज डेट मार्केट अपने आप में भी एक बहुत बड़ी मार्केट होती है। तो आईबीसी, इनफैक्ट आफ्टर ब्रिंगिंग आईबीसी, ऑल ऑफ माय पैनलिस्ट विल एग्री कि माइंडसेट जो था बिजनेसमैन का, पहले वो सोचते थे कि एक बार हमने पैसा ले लिया तो अब देने के लिए तो जब मन आएगा तब देंगे, वो काफी हद तक चेंज हो गया था, स्पेशली विद द कमिंग ऑफ द आईबीसी। उनको लगता था भैया अननेसेसरली मेरा अगर छोटा सा डिफॉल्ट है, अगर कहीं कंपनी आईबीसी में चलेगी तो लेने के देने पड़ जाएंगे, तो चलो इस डेट को हम पे करें। As far as status of pending application as of 24/3/2020 is concerned, तो इसके बारे में मदान जी ने ऑलरेडी आपसे डिस्कस लिया, लेकिन मेरा इसके अंदर थोड़ा सा एडिशनल इनपुट यही है कि वी इन माय ओपिनियन आल्सो, इन माय हम्बल सबमिशन आल्सो, कि जो एप्लीकेशंस हमने ऑलरेडी फाइल कर दी हैं उनके ऊपर 1 लाख की लिमिट अप्लाई होगी, और जो एप्लीकेशन सब्सिक्वेंटली तो फाइल हो ही नहीं सकती 1 लाख से नीचे की। बट इसके अंदर एक स्कूल ऑफ थॉट और भी है कि पीपल से, यानी कि यू नो लीगल फैसिलिटी थिंग्स, कि ये जो पर्टिकुलर रिलेवेंट डेटा 1 लाख से 1 करोड़ वाली, ये एट द टाइम ऑफ एडमिशन देखी जाएगी। बट इट्स सिंपली स्कूल ऑफ थॉट, ओनली एनसीएलटी और जुडिशियल अथॉरिटी लेटर विल डिसाइड। स्टेटस ऑफ डिमांड नोट इशूड अंडर सेक्शन 8 इशूड अप टू 24/3/20, ये बी इशू मदान जी ने ऑलरेडी सर ने चेक कर लिया था कि जिस केसेस में हमने अंडर सेक्शन 8 के अंदर हमने डिमांड नोट्स ऑलरेडी इशू कर दिया, उनका क्या होगा। आई थिंक अगेन नो आंसर एट दिस टाइम, ओनली adjudicating authority will give answer in the days to come. Yes, another thing is that underlying objective is to help MSME. जब हमारे सीतारमन जी ने अपना वो भाषण दिया था तो उसमें उन्होंने कहा था कि जो भी ये लिमिट इंक्रीज करने का है, ये ऑब्जेक्टिव है MSME को हेल्प करने का। Again, I just for the sake of repetition, I say कि ये इससे एक MSME है, उसकी what is the definition of MSME? माइक्रो जिसकी 25 लाख लिमिट है, मीडियम स्मॉल जिसकी 5 करोड़ तक की लिमिट है, जिसकी 10 करोड़ तक की लिमिट है फॉर मीडियम एंटरप्राइज। तो इस तरह की एंटरप्राइजेस का क्या कभी किसी से 1 करोड़ रुपए तक का ड्यू होगा, जिस करके ये इनको हेल्प करनी पड़ेगी, इनको लेने के लिए करनी पड़ेगी। दूसरी बात ये है कि जनरली ये देखा गया है कि ये आईबीसी के अंदर मोस्ट ऑफ द एप्लीकेशंस आर फाइल्ड इधर बाय द फाइनेंशियल कैटर्स, और अगर ऑपरेशनल कैटर्स के अंदर है तो मैक्सिमम एप्लीकेशन हैज बीन फाइल्ड बाय द एमएसएमई पीपल ओनली। और सेक्शन 10 की एप्लीकेशन तो से तो इनको नुकसान होगा। अगर कोई एमएसएमई कंपनी किसी कारण से नहीं चल सकती बिकॉज ऑफ देयर बिजनेस फॉल्ट, तो सेक्शन 10 का अगर इसको उड़ा देते हैं तो नुकसान होगा। तो आई थिंक दैट इज देयर। तो इट इज नॉट वेरी पॉजिटिव आफ्टर इंक्रीज इन लिमिट एज फार एज एमएसएमई इज कंसर्न, जो कि एक बेसिस बनाया गया है, या एक बेसिस बना के हमारे को कहा गया था एट द टाइम ऑफ इंक्रीज इन लिमिट। ओके, नाउ लेट्स सी कि एक थॉट ये भी आती है कि ये यानी कि ये आईबीसी को एक रिकवरी टूल यूज किया जा रहा है। जब आईबीसी को एक रिकवरी टूल यूज किया जा रहा है तो आईबीसी इज नॉट मेंट फॉर द रिकवरी टूल। बट लेट्स सी, सर ने अभी डिस्कस करके हमारे पास एक क्रेडिटर के पास अल्टरनेटिव रेमेडी क्या है, what is going to happen for the cases under section 138, what is going to will they, जो जिस तरह का लॉकडाउन है, जिस तरह के नोटिस वगैरह आज की डेट में इश्यू हुए हैं, आई थिंक 6 महीने साल तो इनको सर्व होने में लग जाएंगे, और सर्व होने के बाद भी वो आएंगे या नहीं आएंगे। जो एक क्रेडिटर के पास सेक्शन 7 के अंदर एक रेमेडी अवेलेबल थी, वो इस लिमिट से काफी हद तक डाइल्यूट हो जाएगी। Yes, now I have prepared my slide on कि ये जो कोविड करके जो एक लिक्विडिटी क्रंच आया है, इसका स्पेसिफिकली हमारे आईबीसी के जो केसेस एग्जिस्टिंग हैं या जो आने वाले हैं, जो आईबीसी के ऊपर क्या इफेक्ट पड़ेगा। देखिए, आईबीसी इंडस्ट्री इज नॉट अवे फ्रॉम एनी अदर इंडस्ट्री। तो इसकी जो इट इज, अगर हम इफ आई रिमेम्बर, तो हमारे यहाँ पे आईबीसी के अंदर रियल एस्टेट के काफी केसेस आए थे, होटल्स के काफी केसेस थे, एयरलाइंस तो और तो कोई था नहीं। तो 2 दिन पहले मैंने न्यूज पढ़ी कि वो वर्जिन एयरलाइन जो ऑस्ट्रेलिया की सेकंड हाईएस्ट एयरलाइन है, इसने अपनी वॉलंटरी बैंकरप्सी की एप्लीकेशन फाइल कर दी है। इट शोज कि कोविड इज गोइंग टू हैव सम लॉट ऑफ इफेक्ट्स। तेल के बारे में भी कहा जा रहा है कि तेल निकल गया, कंपनी बड़ी तेल वाले में काम कर रही है, तो उनका भी शायद काफी बुरा हाल होगा। सेकंड थिंग इज दैट, you know, as far as after this COVID syndrome, everybody is not preferring for to go for any new investment. आज की डेट में तो यही माना जा रहा है कि कैश जो आपके पास है, बैंक में जो आपके पास पैसा है, होपफुली बैंक पैसा इज अलाइव, तो वही आपका किंग है। तो इट विल अगेन, वी शैल फाइंड वेरी वेरी डिफिकल्टी इन फाइंडिंग रेजिडेंट एप्लीकेंट। सेंटर ऑफ ग्रेविटी फ्रॉम आईबीसी टू अदर मोड शैल शिफ्ट। हम लोगों ने, एडवोकेट्स ने, हम आईपीज ने काफी मेहनत करके आईबीसी को स्टडी करा। इट वाज हैविंग ए फ्लाइंग स्टार्ट आल्सो, आई शुड से, इन द लास्ट 3 years it was having a flying start. But with these amendments of reduction in limits or abolition of section 7, 9, 10, आईबीसी को कहते हैं जमीन पे आ जाएगा, और सेंटर ऑफ ग्रेविटी जो है, जो रिकवरी की है, वो आईबीसी से शिफ्ट हो जाएगी टू अदर प्लेसेस। यस, इसके बारे में एक बात और करना चाहूंगा कि ओटीएस करते हुए बैंक वालों को एक बड़ा बेनिफिट होता था कि जो 29A की हैम्परिंग रिस्ट्रिक्शंस होती थी, वो ओटीएस करते हुए मेनी टाइम जैसे कि उसको हम ऑब्विएट कर लेते हैं, और ये दे वर राइट आल्सो। रीजन बिंग दैट कि जब मेनी हर बार ये नहीं होता था कि प्रमोटर ही चोर होता था। मेनी टाइम्स देयर वर सम बिजनेस फेलियर्स, बैंक्स आर इंटरेस्टेड इन कैरिंग विद एग्जिस्टिंग प्रमोटर थ्रू ओटीएस। Yes, I remember in मेरे 2 केसेस के अंदर I just intentionally prepared, I written the name of also CTV हैदराबाद, राधेश्याम टंडन दिल्ली। इसके अंदर हमने ओटीएस करवाया, ट्रोले के अंदर पोस्ट डेटेड चेक दिए गए, और दोनों केसेस के अंदर पोस्ट डेटेड चेक बाउंस हो गए। नाउ द एप्लीकेशंस आर पेंडिंग बिफोर एनसीएलटी फॉर स्टार्ट ऑफ फ्रेश आईबीसी प्रोसीडिंग्स। यस, इन सब चीजों का इन टोटलिटी ये इफेक्ट होगा कि लिक्विडेशन में इंक्रीज, विच इज नॉट एट ऑल द ऑब्जेक्टिव, बिकॉज ऑब्जेक्टिव ऑफ आईबीसी इज अ रेजोल्यूशन। तो कोविड का ये एक बहुत बड़ा इफेक्ट आने वाला है कि इट में इंक्रीज द लिक्विडिटी। Yes, now I prepared slide कि ये इस तरह के चेंजेस से हमारे आईबीसी वर्क का जो है, आईपीस के ऊपर, एडवोकेट्स के ऊपर, वैल्यूज के ऊपर क्या फर्क पड़ेगा। इन माय ओपिनियन इज by abolition of section 7, 9, 10 for maybe for a 6 month or a year, or increase the limit from 1 lakh to 1 crore, it will have a very negative effect. Our work will dwindle a lot. How our fees shall be reduced. In fact, I remember जब हम लोगों ने 2 साल पहले इंसॉल्वेंसी का काम करना शुरू किया था, तो सेम बैंक हमारे को एक काम की 2-2.5 लाख रुपए फीस दे देता था। अब वही वो फीस जो है थ्रू टेंडरिंग सिस्टम एंड ऑल थिंग 50,000 रुपए पहुंच गई। मदान जी, आप हंस रहे हो, थोड़ा सा मेरे को सपोर्ट करो इस बात में। तो आप ये सोचिए, कोविड आने के बाद और बुरा हाल हो जाएगा, बिकॉज वर्क विल रिड्यूस अ लॉट। बिग चैलेंजिंग फॉर ऑनगोइंग असाइनमेंट। ऑलरेडी मदान सर ने इसको डिटेल में डिस्कस कर लिया। आप लिक्विडेशन के अंदर आपकी जाते हो तो आपको एम्प्लॉइज को निकाल सकते हो, आईबीसी के अंदर एम्प्लॉइज को निकाल नहीं सकते, अपनी वर्क को रिड्यूस करोगे, एक्सपेंसेस कैसे बीट आउट करोगे। दीज आर द बिग चैलेंजेस, द असाइनमेंट्स व्हिच वी आर रनिंग। वैल्यूएशन के बारे में ऑलरेडी बात कर ली। वैल्यूएशन तो डेफिनेटली इज गोइंग टू बी रिड्यूस्ड अ लॉट बिकॉज ऑफ दिस कोविड इफेक्ट। वैल्यूएशन शैल बी डीपली अफेक्टेड, मेनली डाउनग्रेडिंग एंड टाइम एक्सटेंशन फॉर पेमेंट्स। और टाइम एक्सटेंशन फॉर पेमेंट्स के बारे में जो भी है, ये हमारी जो एडजुडिकेटिंग अथॉरिटी एनसीएलटी का इंस्टीट्यूट है, स्पेशली ऑफ दिल्ली, वो तो कहते हैं कि आपने एक बार जो प्लान दे दिया, यू हैव टू इम्प्लीमेंट इट इन एनी वे, यानी कि उसके अंदर हमको कोई रिलैक्सेशन नहीं देंगे। तो उसका अल्टीमेटली क्या होगा? अल्टीमेटली यही होगा कि डिफॉल्ट होंगे और केसेस होंगे। यानी व्हाट आई मीन टू से कि जो पॉजिटिविटी है काफी हद तक कम होने के चांसेस हैं बिकॉज ऑफ दिस लिक्विडिटी क्रंच व्हिच हैज कम बिकॉज ऑफ कोविड-19। हाँ, एक और बात, ये हमारे लिए ही काम नहीं पड़ेगा. Adjudicate authority or appellate adjudicate authority, even Supreme Court, High Court should have to also adjudicate lot of things. जैसे अभी मैं आगे नेक्स्ट स्लाइड में बताता हूँ, फोर्स मजूरी के बारे में बात करी थी, whether it is an epidemic or not, whether it is included therein or not. Because जब कहते हैं ना, जब भी कोई डाउनफॉल होता है तो सहारा देने के लिए अल्टीमेटली कोर्ट ही मानी जाती है. तो इसके लिए भी some may developments may come out to be there, some sort of may things may come out to be there, for which our appellate authorities will have to take recourse to their jurisprudence. That's all. I've taken your time, 15-20 minutes. This is all what I have to share with you. I hand over to Abhishek ji now, please.
Thank you, sir, for your very nice presentation on the issue. I think a lot of the basic discussion on this aspect, on much awaited ordinance and the future of this IBC code has been done. But with few questions in my mind, and we have a lot of queries from our attendees also. So I personally have one doubt in my mind, that tomorrow if this ordinance comes, there may be cases that there are some defaulters who are not defaulters due to the COVID situation, who are pre-existing defaulters. Their accounts with the bank which have already been classified as NPA. So with this ordinance coming, they will be in a beneficial position rather than thinking about someone whose CIRP has just commenced just prior to the lockdown. So what happens to those cases? So Puneetji, I will request you to throw some light on this issue, whether we can challenge this ordinance on the basis of Article 14, where we say that unequals have been treated equally. There should be difference between the pre-COVID defaults and the COVID defaults. So I would request you to throw some light on this issue.
So, Abhishek ji, we are slightly putting the cart before the horse, because we don't even have the ordinance, and we are raising a question regarding Article 14 challenge. But assuming that they give a lock, stock and barrel amnesty from section 7, 8 and 9, 7, 9 and 10. In that case, it being a financial matter, it being a matter concerning policy, the government's power to policy-wise decide as to how to treat people under a particular law, and all of them being given a same treatment, namely of suspending the law for all, is like putting us into the situation which was prior to IBC. So could someone at that time have said that you implement IBC? Non-implementation of IBC is actually discriminating between those who are willful. Let me talk about the difference between willful and who are otherwise defaulters. Probably the answer would be no, that no one can have a vested right in enacting a law. Once the law itself has been suspended, can that give a ground for saying that there is Article 14 violation? It's very, very difficult unless we are able to make out a very clear discrimination, which we can do only on reading of the ordinance.
But sir, in cases where CIRP just commenced before the lockdown, can the corporate debtor, shareholders of the corporate debtor, go ahead and file an appeal saying that I was also under financial pressure just before the lockdown, because things had started turning back, for instance, from January, and now my CIRP started in March. So you allow me this appeal because you have given this benefit to others. So my CIRP should also be set aside, etc. Can we have scope of such applications or appeals coming up from corporate debtors whose CIRP just commenced? GP Madanji, if you have any thoughts, sir, on this.
Naturally, we are going to face such application, such appeals, but so far there is no legal backing to these applications or appeals.
Okay.
Because if you ask me this question, my question would be whether these defaults have happened because of Corona, COVID or lockdown. My answer is no. These defaults are not because of Corona. These defaults happened earlier. Every NCLT bench takes minimum 3 to 6 months to decide an application. So if an application has been decided, say in the month of January or February, the application would have been filed somewhere in June, July, August 2019. That time there was no Corona, there was no COVID, there was no lockdown. Hence, all those cases, according to me, should continue.
Okay, sir. The next issue with
Abhishek,
Yes, sir.
I would like to add here. In such like situations, yes, these are such like cases where one may say that you are, by suspending the law, by passing this amending law which suspends, you are creating a discrimination, and that too on the basis of manifestly arbitrary provisions which take away the right of the creditor and gives it into a non-diligent debtor. Such like cases may afford you ground to, yes, challenge it under Article 14 and then allege, and also on the right to carry on business 19(1)(g). In those cases, yes, it can be tried.
So it means no application, no appeal, go to either High Court or Supreme Court.
Yeah. इसमें सर एक बात और मैं ऐड करना चाहूंगा. हेलो.
Yes, sir, please.
कि
Please, go ahead.
हाँ या देखिए, जब इन्होंने फाइनेंशियल क्रेडिटर्स की डेफिनेशन में होम बायर्स को लेके आए, हर बंदे बड़े खुशी हो लेके आ गए. उसके बाद ये रिस्ट्रिक्शन लगाई इन्होंने 100 होम बायर्स फॉर ए प्रोजेक्ट और 10%. तो वो यू नो स्टिल अंडर कंसिडरेशन ऑफ ऑनरेबल सुप्रीम कोर्ट. और उस कैन एनी क्लू बी टेकन फ्रॉम दैट देयर? हेलो.
I'm sorry, क्या पूछना चाहते हैं मनोज जी? इसमें क्या
सर मैंने ये कहा था कि आवाज क्लियर है बता जी आपको?
मैं सुन पा रहा हूं, मैं आपका क्वेश्चन नहीं समझ पाया एंड में. बस उससे किस तरह का लेना चाहते हैं?
मैं ये कह रहा था कि जैसे होम बायर्स के केस में जब इन्होंने ये करा कि रिस्ट्रिक्शन लेके आए कि यू नो फॉर फाइलिंग एन एप्लीकेशन फॉर होम बायर्स बाय अमेंडिंग पर्टिकुलर सेक्शन कि 100 होम बायर्स हो दैट 10% ऑफ दैट थिंग्स शुड बी देयर. तो इस चीज को सुप्रीम कोर्ट में चैलेंज कर दिया गया. और इट इज पेंडिंग बिफोर सुप्रीम.
स्टेटस को
ऑर्डर कर दिया. बिल्कुल कर दिया.
स्टेटस को ऑफ द एप्लीकेशंस फाइल्ड.
ये एप्लीकेशन फाइल नेचुरली कोई नई एप्लीकेशन नहीं आएगी दैट. हाँ, तो मैं कह रहा हूँ कैन एनी क्लू बी टेकन यू नो व्हेन सम सस्पेंशन इज देयर विदाउट रीजन ऑफ द कोविड, बट you know government is taking the reason of COVID for suspension of section 7, 9, 10 or it is in third short limit from 1 lakh to 1 crore, taking MSME ko as a basis. You don't think so?
Sir,
Okay.
At this juncture, my next question to the panelists would be, as we were just discussing about the force majeure in a resolution plan, to my mind, section 31 of the IBC code clearly says that once a resolution plan is approved by the adjudicating authority, it is binding upon all the stakeholders, including the resolution applicant. And generally, I have seen that 90% or 95% of the resolution plans do not carry any force majeure clause. And even if they carry, sir, what in your opinion will be the impact of such force majeure clauses read with section 31 of the IBC in such cases? Madan sir, please throw some light on it.
Even though the force majeure clause is not there, but still force majeure clause is brought into operations and we have a number of judgment there. The jurisprudence is there. Then even though the force majeure clause is not there, doctrine of impossibility or doctrine of frustration are also made applicable in such circumstances.
But sir, is
we have to see the facts of each and every case before applying in blanket this clause or these two doctrines. So that will depend on each and every case. So I mean, I can't give any answer which shall be universally applicable to all the cases.
Okay, sir. Now I have a few queries from our participants also. What will happen with the applications filed with NCLT but not yet decided? What is your opinion on valuation already done on liquidation?
Let's discuss one to one. The first question is, first of all, that we have to read the language of the ordinance. Unless the ordinance is not there, we cannot comment on that, whether this will be applicable to all the pending applications or not. And coming to this, I think somebody recently referred, I think Manoj ji referred, or there was some question, I think I just read this question, that banks have talked about this should be applicable, that all the pending applications should be kept in abeyance. Which is a news.
Yes, sir. It was a news in Business Standard today.
Business Standard. Actually, that Business Standard item is applicable to all those applications where the applications have been admitted.
Right.
They are talking about 1,961 applications which have been admitted. That's not talking about applications pending for admission. So it means they are talking about abeyance of all the pending cases. It means no case shall remain under IBC.
Yeah.
except those which are under implementation, under liquidation. That's all.
जब फिर जिनमें बैंकर नहीं है.
My next question to Mr. My next question to Sumit ji.
हो जाएगा फिर
What is the
फिर पुनीत जी बीच में आ जाएंगे, सेक्शन 14 और सेक्शन 19 ले आएंगे अगर आपने
सर हो ये रहा है कि हाँ जी प्लीज
Sir, my
Abhishek
next
ji?
question to Mr. Sumit Bansal ji.
एक
what
मिनट
is
के लिए
the-
अभिषेक।
Yeah.
ये जो हमारे पास पार्टिसिपेंट से क्वेश्चन है ना वो सीरियल वाइज है, जैसे सुखदेव मदानी जी ने क्वेश्चन किया।
हाँ सर, मैं
शुरू
वही
से
ले रहा हूँ, सीरियल वाइज ले रहा हूँ, right.
उसी में ले रहे हैं, उसी में ले रहे हैं। एक्चुअली काफी सारे क्वेश्चंस उसमें कॉमन है, तो एक क्वेश्चन
Common है, right.
तो एटलीस्ट 10-15 क्वेश्चंस कवर हो जाएंगे उसमें।
So, Bansal ji, Sumit Bansal ji, my next question to you is, what is the impact on the valuation? One of our attendees has asked, what is the impact on valuation during CIRP and liquidation? What are your thoughts on that?
So there is as Madanji said, there is going to be a huge impact. And around 15 to 20 days before, there was a statement from Mr. Deepak Parekh, and he said there would be at least a 20% reduction in the real estate prices. And I would assume that when Mr. Parekh speaks, he is speaking of the residential sector, because mostly HDFC is into the residential mortgage lending. So consequently, the impact on the industrial valuations would be even much higher, or commercial valuations. And then this was a story which was 15-20 days ago. So the valuers have to tell me, but we would be able to figure out the impact in terms of percentage only once the normal situation comes in. But fair to say that the valuations would go haywire. And there are within the law there is some leeway. For example, when the company goes into liquidation, the liquidator may come and go in for fresh valuations at that time if he thinks that the valuations that were done at the time of CIRP, which may be more than 6 to 12 months old, are not a fair representation. As Madanji said, that even during CIRP, I think either with the approval of the NCLT or by recording the reasons clearly, if the RP so feels that he can go for fresh valuations.
But sir, in that case, the bankers are right in saying that the IBC should be suspended. All the even existing cases should be suspended for 2 years, because that will, if the valuations are going to be impacted and tomorrow the liquidator sells the property, they may earn a very less amount as compared to what they would have earned prior to the lockdown. Then the bankers are right. What are your thoughts on that?
अभिषेक जी, आफ्टर मी मदान जी, आप इसको elaborate करना है इसको issue को, but my personal experience, especially with the PSU banks, as I mentioned, even my opening remarks, is very disappointing in terms of they don't have the SOP, they don't have the mindset of dealing a company under CIRP. So I would, with due respect, discount the view of the banks in terms that the even existing cases should be suspended, because they have never been receptive to a CIRP proceeding, even in cases which had turned NPA, which, to a common logic, I fail to understand why. Clearly because of some kind of incompetence, some kind of lack of knowledge, ill-preparedness at their end to be, that the case be dealt with in a transparent manner. The proceedings be open for one and all to see. The forensic audit reports be open. The resolution plans, etc., be called from public at large. That mindset was not there. So
Okay.
on your issue, I would not really take it very seriously.
Okay. Yes, Madan, so you were.
The impact of this COVID on valuation of particularly commercial real estate. This COVID has taught us that we can work from home. Even this big seminar today, 48 right now 48 are there, maybe hundreds are there on Facebook. विपिन जी को अगर ये प्रोग्राम करना पड़ता मालवीय स्मृति सदन में, तो विपिन जी से पूछिए आप कितनी कॉस्ट आती वहां पर करने की। उन्हें हॉल रेंटल देना पड़ता, उन्हें वहाँ AV सिस्टम की पेमेंट करनी पड़ती, उन्हें वहाँ हाईटी का अरेंजमेंट करना पड़ता। आज वो सारे खर्चे बच गए, and more participation is there, and everybody sitting in his residence at his home and participating in everything. Similarly, in case of commercial transactions also, इसने सिखा दिया हमें that you can do work from home, and because of this there will be very less demand of the commercial estates. commercial properties. People would like their employees to sit at home and work from home. Because of this, now there will be more and more supply, less demand. It means again less prices of, of the commercial properties and the less rentals, and that is going to impact the valuation of the assets under CIRP and liquidation also.
In
Thank you,
fact,
sir. Sir,
I would like to add one thing here. Key new models even for commercial rentings would arise. There may be
Yes,
space sharing
yes.
models.
Space
There
sharing,
may
yeah.
be office sharing models.
right,
हो
which
सकता
are
है
already
तीन-
started coming out.
Yes.
Yeah.
हो सकता है कि 3 CA firms अपना एक कॉमन ऑफिस बना लें, उसमें एक कॉन्फ्रेंस रूम हो और सबके पास एक एक कैबिन वो शेयर कर लें, और and they can share the days also. कि I would be coming on Monday, you come on Tuesday, and we share the office. There can be different models.
There can be
It's all
different.
up to imagination and the real. And I think Madan sir ने बहुत important बात कही, and that is what I emphasize. The courts also have to understand that they are service providers. They have to understand their role as service providers, and ultimately the whole economy has to understand, everyone who is contributing in the economy has to understand that unless he works up to his fullest potential, unless he works diligently, because Sumit ji ने भी अभी जो कहा, आपके इतने serious question को, the answer which Sumit ji gave was that this question would not have arisen but for the non-diligence and the non-competence of those people who were involved in that system. I think all those inefficiencies have to be removed. We have to all start doing, I read a concept in economics which is called re-engineering. We have to start questioning each and every process that we follow. Do we need, when we save a file, do we need that file? Wherever we are saving, do we save the file at the same place? Do we really need so much space? Do we need so much this thing? And I think in this, of course, we all have to take lead, but this occasion, people who are at the hem of affairs, like the bankers, the courts, the institutions, like Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, all of them have to rise to the occasion, learn the newer ways, lead their people who are related to them, who are to follow them, so that the whole ecosystem becomes like that. And look, one thing I would like to add here, Abhishek ji, and I think all of us can either agree to it or add to it, that today, when we say cost, Madan sir ne jis cost ki baat kari, he talked about economic cost. Let me talk about the imputed cost of so many difficulties, the problem which we cause by vehicular pollution, the problem that we cause because of purchasing of vehicles and then disposing them. If we are reducing our movement, then are we not doing a lot better for our environment? All these things, I think, are
in nutshell, sir. I would in nutshell, as we have started reading the reports, that there will be a new world order that will come out. So with this thoughts, I have a specific question from one of our panelists, Manoj Anandji, to you. He says
Yes,
that
please.
there was a sale which was done through an e-auction process. Sale was done before the lockdown. First installment was already received. Now the second installment, the final installment, was due on 29th of March. Thereafter, as per the sale agreement, there was a 12% interest which was to be levied if in case the buyer fails to make the payment by 29th of March. Now the buyer is insisting on waiver of interest. Can the liquidator allow that, or what is the procedure in this?
देखिए सर, अभिषेक जी, इसके बारे में if liquidator का CIRP प्रोसेस के अंदर है, what I feel कि अगर हम इसको एज पर लॉ की बात कर रहे हैं तो NCLT तो कभी इस चीज का वेवर अलाउ नहीं करेगी. वो तो ये कहती है कि जो आपने एक बार एग्री कर लिया वो कर लिया. बट आई थिंक लॉ से ऊपर हमारी कमर्शियल सेंस शुड प्रिवेल. COC और लिक्विडेटर कंसीडरिंग exceptional circumstances of epidemic, he should consider it favorably, because alternative उसके पास क्या होगा? अगर suppose कर लो किसी भी कारण से ये default हो जाता है, कुछ हो जाता है, can he find another resident applicant or something like that, which under present scenario will be very difficult. If I had been the IP or something like that, I would try to impress to the COC कि भैया these are the exceptional circumstances, give them a waiver. Or if I have been the liquidator, then stakeholders की meeting convey करके उनको impress करने की कोशिश करूँगा. But ultimately, it has to be in their hand what they do.
Okay. And sir, there is, thank you so much. Then another question from our panelists is that in a case where the CIRP was commenced, thereafter a 12-way application was filed, OTS was committed. Now the person has defaulted in the OTS. So after this ordinance or after this, the notification which is presently in force, can the restoration application be made? Madan sir,
Answer is yes.
he can make a
Because
restoration.
This will not be filing a fresh application. There will be application for restoration.
In my opinion, it has nothing to do with the ordinance.
Grateful, sir. Sir, another question regarding to personal guarantors. What will happen in case of the personal guarantors, which sections were notified very recently? Puneet ji, if you can throw some light on this.
I think हमें उसके लिए ऑर्डिनेंस का वेट करना चाहिए. That is what I feel. मदान
Madan
सर
sir, what
ऑडिबल
is your
नहीं है.
view?
नहीं सर, उसका ऑर्डिनेंस आ गया है. हाँ जी, मदान जी बताइए प्लीज.
If 7, 9 and 10 are not there, these provisions relating to PG and CD will also go.
Okay. And sir, there are news reports which are coming and which we are seeing that they may suspend up to 1 year, they may suspend up to 6 months. What is the, what is the idea behind these two?
6 months period, which may go up to 1 year.
So you are saying that the ordinance on the ordinance, they might approve a time limit of 1 year, but which can be later on done by way of a notification. They don't need a new ordinance.
To the ordinance, they are bringing a new section. That section, as per that section, first suspension shall be for 6 months, and the suspension period may go up to 1 year. For this, no other amendment is required in the code by simply by way of notification.
Notification. Okay, okay, sir. Sir, another query is, what about the status of the cases in which orders have been reserved prior to lockdown?
I touched upon this topic. According to
Yes.
According to me, this will not impact all those cases where the orders have been reserved. Only question will be there of valuation as per the resolution applicant. Resolution applicant may create some trouble there, and he may now approach NCLT, don't pass the order because this plan does not remain viable anymore. That is the only apprehension I'm having as on date.
And sir, in case where the orders were reserved qua the admission of the CIRP?
It will not be applicable to there also. Here I would like to read the language of the ordinance, and let's wait for the language of the ordinance. Now, as far as order for approval, other orders which have been reserved, on 14th of March, NCLT has come out with a circular where all the presiding officers of all the benches have been advised to pass the order.
Yes, sir.
Pass the order. Please pass on that order to the technical member. If the technical member has been advised to approve it, and if there is any issue, both the orders if both of them are a different view. One says it should be accepted, another says should not be accepted. Then the matter shall be referred to the third judge for passing the order. This is
yes, sir.
14th of March.
Exactly. 14th of March. Yes.
Sir, there is another specific question I'm reading out. Personal guarantee is given by the individual in connection with the loan taken by the corporate debtor. Now, corporate debtor failed to make the repayment of loan. The lender, instead of filing application under Section 7 of the IBC, decides to issue notice to personal guarantor. If the personal individual guarantor does not make payment, the lender decides to file application for bankruptcy against individual. In such situation, does lender need to file application with DRT of place where the individual guarantor resides, or with the NCLT in which jurisdiction registered office of the corporate debtor is situated?
DRT wherever the PG is there. That's all. That's the final answer.
Thank you, sir.
Some questions are there on the chat also.
Yeah, I'm reading it from the chat only, sir.
Okay.
Now. So one attendee has suggested, before this ordinance comes out, can we file an online application? Because NCLT nowadays is allowing filing of an online application without an affidavit attached to it. If the default is obviously above 1 crore rupees, can we file an online application?
Answer is yes. Application can be filed without filing fee and without affidavit. There is an order from Justice Rekha Palli of Delhi High Court allowing all such applications, and whenever the COVID lockdown is open, within next 4 days, the fee can be paid and the physical affidavit can be submitted.
So if tomorrow the ordinance does not bar the pending applications, these applications will be taken up.
Absolutely.
In fact, here I would like to say one thing. Looking at
Yes,
all
sir.
these questions regarding pending things, there is a saying that law helps those who are vigilant for their rights. So, if someone is taking action in time, it may sometimes make a big boon for him. So, you were right when you said that then tomorrow pending applications can be taken. So, one has to be very active. For example, in the last question, there was a question: what would happen to pending orders or reserved orders? Assuming that the order has not been passed till date, and a person feels that the situations have changed and therefore the order also has to change. In that case, he should immediately move an application for recalling and saying that the order be not pronounced and these are the changed circumstances. If the application is filed, then tomorrow he can safeguard himself against any unforeseen thing which may happen because of the change in circumstances. So such like things have to be taken care of, and that is where the role of professionals is there.
And so one
अभिषेक जी
question.
एक
Yes, sir. Please.
सर एक बड़ा कॉमन में से आ रहा है सर, ये मदान जी सर आप थोड़ा सा इस पे हाईलाइट करिए सो दैट एवरीबॉडी गॉट एनलाइटेंड आल्सो, पुनीत जी आल्सो, यू आल्सो, कि जो एनसीएलटी इस समय अर्जेंट मैटर्स ले रही है, व्हाट कैटेगरी ऑफ मैटर्स कैन बी टर्म्ड एज अर्जेंट यू नो फॉर हियरिंग? बिकॉज मेरे पास भी जो हमारे केसेस चल रहे थे, जैसे 12A के अंदर एप्लीकेशन फाइल करा हुआ था, दे वर इंसिस्टिंग कि आप अर्जेंट एप्लीकेशन इसकी हियरिंग करवा लो और समथिंग लाइक दैट. कैन यू स्पेसिफाई और गाइड अस कि व्हाट काइंड ऑफ मैटर्स कैन बी ट्रीटेड एज अर्जेंट?
Answer is big no. Neither you nor me can decide what is urgent, what is not urgent. Only yesterday we have seen Mr. Arnab Goswami has approached Supreme Court and got the relief. Now you can understand what is urgent, what is not urgent is a very, very subjective term. It all depends on the chairperson of that particular or presiding officer of the particular bench. That's all.
That is the
Or do you have to be like an Arnab Goswami? Or do you have to be like an Arnab Goswami like person? Then you can, you know, put your application
I will like
and bench
to share
will be
one
bound
of,
to accept it.
Yeah, in fact, I will share one of my experience at this point. There is an NCLT circular which
Yes, sir.
clearly says that, you know, approval of resolution plan will not be considered urgent. But when in one of my matters, the resolution applicant moved an application and the, you know, tribunal has heard the application for approval of resolution plan.
Abhishek ji, आप Arnab Goswami हो.
Order passed or order reserved?
There were some objections to the application, so he has not passed the order, but he accepted to hear the matter.
Anyway, so, but no order has been passed. Even though they have decided it's urgent, but so the order has not been passed.
So one question which I have in my mind is that whether instead of suspending the IBC altogether, this 7, 8, 9, 10, obviously, if they could have just suspended 29A and allowed the, you know, promoters or adding promoters to go themselves and ask for the resolution of their companies, do you think it would have been a better idea?
I think this is talk of the town that the 29A should also be relaxed.
Relax, yes sir.
Should also be relaxed, but simultaneously you have to read Swiss Ribbons case also. Your Supreme Court has said very categorically that wherever a company has gone into insolvency, it should not go back to its promoters at all. Then the government has to come out with a very, very solid defense to that, because it's the government which brought 29A. Supreme Court put a stamp on that. Now, if the government want to relax it, government should have solid reason to relax it.
Okay.
But if you ask,
I think one thing is there that these exceptional.
If you ask me personally, I am in favor of relaxation.
So, in fact, you are right, sir. Looking at the circumstances which prevail today, I think every time a decision is to be taken, that decision requires balancing of interests. And looking at today's situation from a policy perspective, it seems that businesses should continue rather than being liquidated. I think so. In that view of the matter, many things which were wrong yesterday may become right today. Many things which were wrong right yesterday may become wrong today. So when we say that world order has to change, I think that is the meaning of changing of the world order.
अभिषेक जी, इसमें एक बात और मैं ऐड करूंगा. बैंक्स जो हैं इसी करके ओटीएस ज्यादा प्रेफर करते हैं, बिकॉज ओटीएस के अंदर 29A का कोई हिंड्रेंस नहीं होता. तो विद द एक्सपीरियंस दे हैव आल्सो अंडरस्टूड कि भैया ये रजिस्ट्रेशन के अंदर भी हमारे को बेटर है. अगर एग्जिस्टिंग प्रमोटर इसने बहुत ज्यादा कुछ घपले नहीं करे हुए तो इसके साथ ओटीएस कर लें. whereas you get money quite early also, और जो CIRP की cost है, जो पूरा process है, which runs into generally more than around 2 years, कि वो भी
Right.
नहीं होता.
Right.
Abhishek ji,
So
15
at this
minute-
point, we have one more question. Can a liquidator of a CD put his name as IRP for application under Section 7 to move against a borrower who has defaulted above 1 crore? I think the, Mr. Sukhdev Madnani, he wants to ask this question. Can a liquidator put his name under the application under Section 7 against a borrower? Maybe I get that he wants to ask that whether a liquidator can go for an insolvency against a company or not.
Simply question is whether a company which is into liquidation can prefer an application under Section 7 or 9 or not.
All right.
Yes.
My answer is no.
But
Sir, with the permission of NCLT?
No, there was an amendment in Section 11 to that extent.
That is under CIRP.
No, CIRP, but
CIRP can file for application under Section 7 and 9. That's not applicable.
Madan ji, sir, इसमें एक बात पूछा, with the permission of NCLT, I think he can file.
I'm having my own doubts whether NCLT will give permission.
It is inbuilt in the law. It is inbuilt in the liquidation process there that with the permission of NCLT, liquidator can file.
Maybe I'm
Sir,
missing.
my experience in this regard is New Delhi bench rejected my application. They said that you can file civil suit cases or you can file even the recovery of cases before me as a summary proceeding, but I will not allow you to file an insolvency application.
It was before amendment or after amendment your case?
After amendment. During the liquidation,
after
they didn't allow. Yeah.
You know, once companies into
After CIRP amendments.
once the company is into
After CIRP.
once the company is into liquidation, it's a matter of time before the company is dissolved. Except in that one case where the company is sold in liquidation as a going concern.
Going concern.
Otherwise,
Yes,
all
sir. Yes, sir.
the company shall be dissolved.
बिल्कुल ठीक कह रहे हैं सर.
I think we don't have any more questions because mostly the questions are regarding the pending applications. One question to Manoj Anandji. There's a question
Yes,
to
sir.
you. Sir, lot of restructuring and business remodeling shall occur. Won't the valuations go on a general note have a steep rise?
Again, it is a very subjective matter. Most of the cases, जैसे मैंने अपनी प्रेजेंटेशन में बताया था, it depends again industry to industry. अब होटल इंडस्ट्री या एयरलाइन इंडस्ट्री या वर्जिन एयरलाइन ने वॉलंटरी लिक्विडेशन की फाइल कर दी ऑस्ट्रेलिया के अंदर, और ये हमारे होम बायर जिस कैटेगरी के अंदर आते हैं, इन केसेस में तो वैल्यूएशन कहाँ अप होगी. हाँ, अगर बाई चांस किसी की कंपनी ऐसी है फार्मास्यूटिकल के अंदर है या कम्युनिकेशन के अंदर है, whereby because of this COVID some prospectus of are rising on the higher side, maybe in that case valuation will be on the higher side, but again it is a subjective matter.
Thank you so much. And with this, I would like to conclude our discussion at this point. But I feel, basis of our discussion, that we need to have another webinar once the ordinance comes out to really put an end to all these queries which our attendees today had. So let's plan another webinar once the ordinance is out. Meanwhile, I feel it was a very fruitful discussion today. Lot of our doubts, lot of our qualms have been put to rest regarding IBC. At this point, I would like to invite Rohit Vaswani ji, our president, to say a few words.
Before Rohit ji starts, I only want to add one thing as a conclusion, that if IBC is suspended and in whatever form it is suspended, and for whatever period that is done, all the corporate lawyers and those who are practicing into IBC, I think they have to think again as to what shall be the advantages and disadvantages and what shall be the practice areas in the times to come during which this law is suspended. Because if looking at the situation and the question which you just now read out, the last question regarding a lot of acquisitions, mergers, restructurings, there is, according to me, what I think is that a lot of corporate activity is going to happen, IBC or no IBC. So I think this may dispel the fear of many of those who are actually, who have put themselves into this IBC umbrella and they were practicing good. I think now they have to, it's the time to expand your wings. And even in the opening seminar, the first one that we did in this IBC group, we discussed that actually IBC should not be seen only as IBC. It should be seen as part of the overall corporate law umbrella, and I think a lot of opportunities are going to come in this corporate umbrella, and you would really reap the gains as professionals if everything goes the way we are planning. And I would like to only at the end quote what our Honorable Prime Minister has said in the recent message that he has posted on his LinkedIn account. He has stated that India would become the hub of the supply chain, and I am sure that whatever he says, he doesn't say something which is already 90% implemented, and just the tip of the iceberg has to come so that we can see. It may be underwater, and I take his words very seriously, and I think we all professionals are going to have some good time after this difficult time. This is what I feel.
Two areas which are going to open because of suspension of IBC, Puneetji, are that insolvency professionals now may be able to act as mediator or arbitrator in the insolvency cases. And you never know when this mediation and arbitration may get a legal recognition also, because this is also being debated at length in the government circle also.
इसमें सर मैं एक बात और ऐड करना चाहूंगा कि 1/4/2020 से वाइंडिंग अप रूल्स को इन्होंने स्पेसिफाई करा है, जिसके अंदर इन्होंने ऑलरेडी कहा है कि एक स्पेसिफाइड कंपनी जो है जिनकी 50 करोड़ से कम की टर्नओवर है, 1 करोड़ आई थिंक कैपिटल है, 50 लाख रुपया लोन्स है, 25 लाख में डिपॉजिट्स है, वो ऑलरेडी दे विल फाइल एप्लीकेशन विद द आरडी, एंड वो भी एक हम आईपीएस के लिए काफी अपॉर्चुनिटी है शायद आने वाले टाइम में अराइज होगी, क्योंकि ऑलरेडी रूल नोटिफाई कर दिए गए हैं।
That winding up is under Companies Act 2013.
Yes. बट उसके अंदर सर अपॉइंटमेंट जो है वो आईपीएस की है।
No, first of all, in addition to IBC, we have to read Companies Act also.
सर आईबीसी पढ़ने से पहले कंपनीज एक्ट पढ़ा था।
पढ़ा नहीं, मैं फिर कह रहा हूँ, वो रिफ्रेश करना पड़ेगा।
सर आप
So now
बिल्कुल करेंगे।
request Rohit Vaswani, who is here, to say a few words. Please, Rohit.
दो पार्टिसिपेंट्स के क्वेश्चन और अगर वो ले सकते, टाइम है तो। एक समुद्र कांसल जी का, एक प्रमोद लाडा जी का। दे वांट टू स्पीक समथिंग।
ले लीजिए, प्लीज ले लीजिए।
हमारे
पास क्या रेस्ट्रिक्शन 2 घंटे के बाद भी चला
सकते हैं। मेरा क्वेश्चन मदान साहब से है। थैंक यू मदान साहब फॉर सच अ वंडरफुल इनसाइट्स। सर जो कोविड-19 है, दिस इज एन एक्ट ऑफ गॉड, जो वायरस है, बट जो क्वारंटीन और लॉकडाउन हुआ है ये गवर्नमेंट ने डिक्लेयर करा था, मोदी जी ने। तो जो बिजनेस एक्टिविटी है, कैन वी कवर इट स्ट्रिक्टली अंडर द एक्ट ऑफ गॉड और फोर्स मेजर? व्हाट इज योर व्यू?
Is force measure only act of God?
But the lockdown is human intervention, sir.
Force measure is, I think, beyond act of God also.
No, in fact, if one reads section 56, sir, sorry, I am stopping you. Not
Please.
stopping. आप बोलिए sir, please.
Please carry on.
So section 56 of the Contract Act talks about supervening impossibility. It has nothing to do with act of God. कई बार हम उसको normal common parlance में discussion के समय बोल देते हैं act of God. Actually, act of God can be only one thing. There can be an act of enemy also. There can be an act of communal violence also. There can be 10,000 different reasons, and now you have got a new reason. So the question, in fact, is whether factually it is impossible to perform. And that impossibility is not caused by your own act. It is an external impossibility. That is what is to be seen.
इसीलिए मैंने तीनों चीजें कवर की थी। मैंने फोर्स मेजर कवर किया था, मैंने डॉक्ट्रिन ऑफ इम्पॉसिबिलिटी कवर की थी, मैंने डॉक्ट्रिन ऑफ फ्रस्ट्रेशन कवर की थी। And these all these three may form part of the agreement, may not form part of the agreement. It all depends on the language of the agreement or the document or the plan concerned.
Right, sir. Got it. Puneetji, I had one thing which I needed to discuss with you. Sir, hello.
जी.
Fundamental rights and duties being coexisting. अब social distancing हमारी fundamental duty है, और right जैसे article 19(1)(g) में is the right of business. Can we say that now our right is vitiated in view of the quad this duty of social distancing? They are not in.
आप जो word fundamental duty use कर रहे हैं वो आपने शायद coin किया है, लेकिन जो constitution में fundamental duty है,
हाँ, उसमें तो नहीं फॉलो हो रहा है,
उसमें तो फॉलो नहीं करेगा। तो हम इसको ऐसे समझ लेते हैं कि दिस इज आवर ड्यूटी एज अ सिटीजन टुवर्ड्स आवर कंट्री। नाउ यू आर सेइंग कि ये हमारी ड्यूटी हो गई और बिजनेस करना हमारा फंडामेंटल राइट है। बट प्लीज अंडरस्टैंड वन थिंग व्हिच इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट विद दीज राइट्स इज राइट्स आर ऑलवेज कोएग्जिस्टेंट विद कॉरेस्पॉन्डिंग रिस्पांसिबिलिटीज, एंड देयर कैन बी नेवर अ राइट व्हिच इज अनहिंडर्ड unbridled and uncontrolled. So therefore, if the need for the country today is that we maintain social distancing and the government of the day feels that that is something which is good for all, then by making a law, they can curtail your right by referring to Article 19 itself. क्योंकि आपका right भी 19 देता है और 19 के अंदर नीचे लिखा हुआ है government can make a law providing for reasonable restrictions.
Reasonable,
So unless the law become unreasonable and law restricts your right unreasonably, that is disproportionately or something which is either not related to the right, then you can challenge it. But I think looking at the situation, it is a clear-cut case of the responsibility becoming more important than the right.
Very well, sir. Valuable. Thank you.
I'll say during lockdown.
Next, Prabodh Lada ji पूछना
I
चाह
will
रहे
say
हैं.
that during lockdown, keeping distance is a legal duty. After lockdown, it will be a social duty and moral duty.
Right.
प्रभु जी आप प्लीज पूछिए. ओके. अभिषेक जी प्लीज कंटिन्यू.
So, Rohit ji, please request you to share your thoughts and say a few words so that we can conclude today's webinar.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir,
we can hear you. Please.
Good afternoon to everybody joining this webinar. And the topic is very hot because we are on the verge of having a ordinance or whatever declaration from the government, whether this IBC is going to be in abeyance or whether it is going to continue with the enhanced limit of 1 crore. And I think very good coordination has been done by Abhishek Gargji, who is the co-convener of this IBC group. And discussion has been at a quality level. And we have the advisor of the group, Mr. GP Madan with us. We have the convener of the group, Puneet Agrawal ji with us. We have another co-convener, Manoj Anandji. And we have with us General Secretary Vipan Agrawal ji, who is looking after all these webinars. And before concluding, but I would like to say a few words that even if this IBC law is not suspended, then it is practically suspended as of now. If you see the Supreme Court suo moto order in a writ petition, the time limit in the limitation which has been suspended is going to, in a way, like suspension of the each and every proceedings in the judicial juncture. And even the IBC is suspended. Once it is restored, then all the cases can be came into the preview of the IBC. There is no time barring. If the outstanding is there at that time also, when the IBC is restored, so any resolution, anything can happen, freshly start from that time also. But let's see how the government is going with this, IBC law. And I would like to thank each of the panelists who have given deliberation here, all of you who are listening this discussion, and hope we will be having another set of discussion once there is new fresh announcement from the government side. And thank you all of you once again. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Rohit ji.
एक चीज और अभिषेक जी, we can circulate the PPT also, and I had also prepared a compilation of all these orders which can help, so we can circulate it to all the members.
Yes, sure, sir. We will send it by email to all the members, or we can even share it in our group.
Okay, then we conclude now, Vipanji.
Yes, let us say Jan Gan Man.
जन गण भारत
पंजाब सिंध गुजरात
गाए तब से गाथा. जय हो.
Jai Ho.
जय हो।
जय हे। भारत माता की जय।
भारत माता की जय।
Jai. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. We are leaving the meeting now, please.